Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Caitlin from Leave Me Alone Plants, and today I am joined here by one of my prized plants, my Ruby Cascade Peperomia. Now, funny enough, when I first bought this plant, I actually bought it by accident. I had thought it was a string of hearts at the time, and as you can see from afar, it kind of resembles it, but they're just a little bit different. Of course, this plant, like it's called, the Ruby Cascade, has these beautiful ruby long stems, as well as the back of the leaves are actually that same ruby color. They are semi-heart shaped, slightly less than the string of hearts, but if you can't find one of those and you do see one of these, I think that they are a great alternative. So if you have one on your list, or if you have recently acquired one, stay tuned and we'll get into the care tips right now. So, like most peperomia, this Ruby Cascade is going to be semi-succulent, and because of that, you're not going to have to go in and water this guy super often. Now, surprise, surprise, my plant needs some water, just like every plant that is ever in a video, but a good way to kind of judge if this plant is, in need of water, or if it's kind of just doing its thing and it's good to go, is if you touch the leaves and they're just feeling kind of thin and just not super plump, that's the time when you're going to want to go in with the water. Normally these leaves are going to be pretty thick, pretty bloated, and just kind of puffy looking. So that's a great way to just kind of tell it, go in. You don't even have to feel the soil, just feel the leaves and they will kind of tell you what they want. Now for me, I find peperomias to be one of the most difficult plants to care for. For some reason, every single one I own, I tend to kill 9 times out of 10 from overwatering and then causing root rot. More specifically stem rot when I'm thinking of like Rosso and like ripple peperomias. I always get stem rot on them because I top water them and then it's just like, it's not happy. It just always happens every time. So if you're like me and you have a really hard time with peperomias, don't let this one scare you off. It's the one that I am always able to keep alive in my house, and I do think that it has a pretty unique look compared to most peperomia. If you are somebody who's a little bit of a heavier water and you are worried about root rot, one thing that you can do is, I kind of have this in a bit of a deeper pot, but if you put it in a shallower pot, that will be totally fine for these plants. Their root system is not that deep, so even if you have it in a short little pot, it'll be totally fine, and then you won't have to worry about moist, soggy soil sitting down at the bottom of the pot, potentially causing harm to your plant. As for lighting, these guys are going to like a pretty bright light. I have mine sitting in a windowsill, and as you can see, it's the side that faces the window, and then this side actually, is not facing the light, so it doesn't have too much growth on it. One of the things that I was my New Year's resolution that I have not held up with is rotating my plants, so comment down below if you are good at rotating your plants, because that is like one area of plant care that I just completely neglect on like all of my plants. So hopefully I never have to move and put them in a new location, because they always have one giant bare spot on them. As for propagation of these guys, these are one of the easiest plants to propagate. They're so easy that even I can do it. So how I have propagated these in the past before is I just take long cuttings of the stem, and basically I put a pot, I fill it up with sphagnum moss, and then I just lay them on top, keep it moist, and they will root up from there. So you can, I believe it's called the butterfly method, where basically what you'll do is on each of these nodes, you'll individually come and snip so that it's basically, the leaf part is going to be kind of like the butterfly wing, and you're just going to have 2 short stems. It'll root up from there. Really up to you. Even if you just leave it as a long stem, it will still sprout out roots at those nodes and kind of just take off from there. So super easy. If you have one of these plants that's starting to get longer and you want to share it with a friend, then go for it. You can probably do it in no time flat. In addition to these plants being super easy to propagate, they're pretty fast growers. I've only had this plant for a couple of months now, and when I had it, none of this stuff was hanging over the edge. It was just a pot filled on the top, and that was basically it. For a long time, my stems had actually all been sticking straight up in the air, and then it was just recently that it really started to take off, and now I have this long cascading growth hanging off the side, which I'm pretty jazzed about. So if you buy one of these fresh at the store and it's kind of smaller and you're, aspiring to get to this or much larger, then trust me, you won't have to wait very long, which is works great if you are an impatient person like myself. These plants will flower, however, their flowers aren't that exciting. It's just a standard peperomia flower where it basically just looks like a long yellowish stem. So I'll pop a picture of that right over here, but you know, it's more of a grower than a shower. One thing I have found about these plants that they do not like is they don't really enjoy getting super hot. So I live here in Arizona, and of course in the summer it gets well above the 100s. I tried putting one of these outside on my patio, and in a matter of days basically the whole pot turned black. It was not having it, and sadly he was a casualty. So if you live somewhere super hot like me, you know, Arizona, Florida, Nevada, somewhere that, you know, it's like the gates of hell, then probably avoid putting this guy outside. But again, you know, he can tolerate that light, so don't be afraid to pop him close to a window. And if you're living somewhere a little colder, like, you know, I'm originally from New York, it gets freezing there, you can probably pop him outside in the summer, and I'm sure he will love that. That is all I have for today, guys. I hope this video was helpful, but if it wasn't and there was other questions that you were hoping would be answered, please drop them in the comments down below and I will do my very best to answer them. Don't forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button for more plant care videos and other fun plant related shenanigans. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.